Doing tonight, or I should say this morning. Happy Friday, y'all. Sorry I'm late. Um, my alarm didn't wake me up, so all I can assume is I must have turned it off in my sleep. So I guess at some point in time I had to buy me another alarm that's not my phone, because having my phone like right there next to me where I can reach it, it seems like I sometimes will turn it off not realizing in my sleep. To where if I have it set up somewhere where it's not next to me, it'll be able to wake me up to where I have to get up out of bed to go turn it off. So, and I had a couple other things come up too. So, I hope y'all are doing well. I also told y'all that I wouldn't read and I wouldn't pick up my deck if, I had something going on, whether I was upset, angry, because it's not fair to y'all and it's not about hiding things from y'all. It's more so about not allowing that energy to come into this or anytime I pick up a deck because that can affect any readings I do. So, I wouldn't do that either. And someone had asked me about someone about a week ago, and I wasn't ready to talk about her yet. But I think my spirit guides kind of forced me to have to talk about her now and let y'all know what has transpired. I just needed some time to process everything because unfortunately something else happened today. Um, I got a phone call after I ended the stream this morning. My girlfriend was waiting me to end the stream before she called me because she knew if she called me in the middle of the stream, it would interrupt what I was doing. So, and she didn't want to do that. But many of y'all know that I had a friend that ended up in a bad car accident last year. It was in November, and it happened to happen right before Thanksgiving. And she was a widow. Her husband passed away about 3 years ago now from cancer. And she had to go up to the store, I think it was, to grab something. And when she was on her way home, she got T-boned by someone who was driving, apparently under the influence of drugs. Caused her car to flip over 3 times. Put her in, critical condition. She almost died. They had to restart her heart twice, is what I was told. And put her in a coma. And for months now, she's been in that coma. And her parents, unfortunately, are in a nursing home because they either have dementia or Alzheimer's. So they can't, make any decisions for her. And she has no siblings. She's the only child. And unfortunately, she has 2 kids, 2 young kids. So this whole past, however long it's been, almost 8 months, that 8, 9 months, it's been a battle in, the court system trying to keep her alive because I knew she had family in, I think it was Arizona. Her mom's sister, which is her aunt, and her husband are the only people that she has. And so, um, they came here a few months ago. Well, I guess it's been longer than a few months ago. Um, to want to take over her care, to make those decisions because my girlfriend didn't have any family here. It was just, her 2 kids, and then she had a couple close friends, me and another friend she had grown close with over the years. And she had listed us on her medical to make those decisions if ever a case where she ended up unconscious and couldn't make decisions for herself. Well, that got taken away from us when her aunt and uncle arrived here because they technically are the next of kin because you can't legally ask her parents, what her care should be. So there was the battle of that and then the battle of where her kids are at. And her kids have been at my other girlfriend's house. Her and her husband has been able to take care of them. And they also have 2 kids of their own. So it made more sense for the kids to be there than to be with me because I really don't have a space and me working at night and everything else. So but I try and keep in touch and stay on top of everything. And so her aunt and uncle were petitioning the court to remove her from life support. And me and my girlfriend said no. This is not something she would want. You got to give her a chance to fight. And to us, it felt like they wanted to come after just to remove her from the breathing machine to get access to the money that her husband had left for her and her kids when he passed away. And it was a good amount of money. And it felt that way too because when her husband passed away, I never saw her aunt or uncle. They weren't here. They didn't come here to help her grieve or to help her with the funeral arrangements with the kids or anything else. It was me and our mutual friend Teresa that was there. And so to us, it felt like they were asking about the money. In fact, they wanted access to her home. And we said no. You don't have no business being in her house. Okay. Yeah, I mean, nobody's in that house because the kids are with Teresa. But it's like, no, where were you? You know, 9 months ago, 3 years ago, where have you been? And you just suddenly disappear out of the, woodwork, you can say. Why? Because we know she wants the money. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for access to her money. And so me and Teresa said no. And luckily, I had a friend who's a lawyer, who's a, what do they call that? Crap, Amanda. Personal injury. That's what he specializes in. In fact, he was my lawyer when I had my car accident years ago. And I called in a favor and asked if he can help check into this to see if there was any way that we could prevent them from being able to take action right now, trying to remove her from life support, to give her a chance to fight. And so, luckily, at first, one court had said no, she needs to be removed because of the cost to keep her treatment, to keep her alive. It was getting expensive and it was going through her personal medical insurance she had through work, which she also works for a doctor. And even her doctor and colleagues there were even stepping in and speaking on our behalf too, saying no, she wouldn't want this. She would still want the opportunity to fight, you know. So that helped. And um, it got appealed because it went up to a higher court. And the next judge had said, no, this is not, like something like medically wrong with her because she wasn't taking care of herself. This was an accident. This falls under a personal injury case. So no, it really is going to fall under her medical costs will fall under the person who hit her because obviously he's at fault. So that's what helped to keep her alive. Well, unfortunately, about a week and a half ago, I get word that her body was starting to shut down, and the um the aunt had hired a lawyer, a different lawyer, to prevent me and my girlfriend from making any other decisions. It got cut off. So all we know is her body started shutting down, and we don't know why. We don't have those answers. Um, I did call the hospital to see if, one of the nurses that have been caring for her that knows me, if they would tell me. I understood it was a risk of that person losing their job, but I just wanted to know if by chance, they would give me something. And one of them told me that she got sepsis. And yeah, her body failed and she passed away. And so, you know, I'm devastated and I can't make sense of it. And I know I'm not supposed to make sense of it right now, but um, I don't know what went wrong in there since we've been cut off from making any decisions for the last couple months. I haven't been able to tell the doctors anything what I think they should do. And so we've been forbidden from seeing her. So we didn't get to say goodbye. Not only did we get to say goodbye, then I find out that they're not going to even have a funeral for her here, for her friends or anybody. It's like her aunt and uncle just came in and said no, because, you did this, no. This is not your family. This is not your business. She's not your business, is what we got told. So, I've even looked in the paper or on the internet for an obituary. I can't find one anywhere, but I know one has to exist somewhere. Um, then I asked my lawyer, my friend, I said, is there any way you can get anything? Just, we need to know why. Where is she? Like, where's she being buried? What's happening with her body? And what about her children? So you're going to tell me you're not going to even honor her and give her a proper funeral, even for her own children to grieve? These two kids, they're young. They're 4 and 7. No, this is wrong. So he had talked to someone and found out that um they cremated her and they took her ashes back to Arizona with them. So no, there was no funeral here. They decided that they were gonna have the funeral in Arizona. Why? I don't know why. Who's there? I don't know if anybody who's in Arizona except for her aunt and her uncle. That's it. I don't know of any friends or any other family. And then yesterday, because there was still the issue of her children, because she didn't have a will, and now it's in probate court, which that's a whole nother mess to this. Um, Naturally, I knew it was coming. They had petitioned the court that they were given custody of her two kids. So I get told yesterday after I ended the stream that the sheriff showed up at Teresa's house and removed the children from her custody and said no, the court said that they have to go with her aunt and uncle now, and there's nothing we can do. So me and Teresa are just completely devastated, and we just don't know what to do. We didn't get to say, or I didn't get to say goodbye to her kids, and I don't know what's gonna happen with her kids now. I just know they're going back to Arizona, which I know Anna wouldn't have wanted that, but there's nothing I can do. And you know I I feel like I was defeated. Um, and I think my spirit guides, they forced me after in the stream this morning, and I got off phone with Teresa, being told that her kids are going back to Arizona with her aunt and uncle, with Anna's aunt and uncle. um I cried myself to sleep, and I did dream of her. I don't remember what the dream was about, but I did dream of Anna. And And then my spirit guides kind of stepped in and told me that, in time I'll understand why this happened, but I need to trust the universe. I need to trust in the divine. And I had to let them know, do you know how angry I am? Do you know how devastated I am? Yeah, maybe I'm not allowing all my emotions to hit me right now, but I'm devastated. And I'm doing the best I can, still doing what I gotta do, because this whole year, as some of y'all know, I've lost already 2 people. Actually, I've lost 3. Anna's the 4th. So, and, my spirit guides are telling me, you haven't given yourself a chance to grieve. Maybe, but what am I supposed to do? Go crawl in a corner, and cry myself to sleep for days like I did with my mama. I can't do that. That's not, that's not realistic here. And, of course, my spirit guides telling me no, but you haven't given yourself any time off either. So they keep pushing me to take a week off, and they're like, why not take next week off? It's like, whatever. But, um, so I did dream, and I dreamed about the channel too. But, earlier I couldn't, when I woke up from, sleeping and from the dream, I'm shaking my head, and naturally, I'm yelling up at the universe, yelling at God, letting him know how angry I am with him, and I'm fighting my anger still. And, even my heartbreak for losing Anna, my heartbreak from not being able to say goodbye to her children, and the heartbreak of one of my other best friends that died Easter, which is Marisol. Some of y'all know that too, and I didn't get to go to her funeral because at the time that the funeral happened was, Anna, and there was things still going on in the court system, so I couldn't just rush up to California to go to Marisol's. funeral and missed the court, when it came to Anna and fighting her family about the care and everything. So I missed that funeral. Um, I had my relative pass away back in January, which I know many of y'all know that, and so happened her funeral happened when we got the snowstorm. So I got to process that one more because I ended up stuck at my brother's house because of the snow, and it wasn't safe for me to drive home for a few days. And then there's another person that passed away that I just found out recently. Um, I never met her in person, but um, I did find out months ago. She's one of my soul sisters. And so I got the news she passed away. So, there's three people that I'm doing my best to mourn, to grieve, to handle my anger and my pain, and to do the best that I can do right now. And so when I woke up, I was still upset. So I couldn't come just yet. So that's why I'm late, y'all. I told y'all, I'll never put up a front to y'all. What you see is what you get. You'll see my different emotions, throughout the day. Yeah, I try and be happy for y'all because that's what I want. I want this to be a happy, peaceful place for y'all where y'all feel safe. And if y'all are going through it, I want to be there for y'all. And to put all that on y'all, it's not fair. But at the same time, I know that this with Anna and her kids put me at my breaking point too. And it was something I could not hide. So, will I take a week off? Beautiful people, I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense for me to take a week off right now. Um, but they're encouraging me to take Monday through next Sunday off from Labor Day until Sunday. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. Because the other thing I told y'all I was going to do was start the memberships. And it would be wrong for me to start the memberships Labor Day if I'm not going to be present. So if it doesn't start Labor Day, it might start on the 8th or the 7th, when I would return if I do take a week off. Um, I know, you know, am I okay? Yeah, I'm as okay as I'm gonna be right now. Um, I'm still gonna have those moments where I know I'm gonna break down, and I'm not gonna want to do it here with y'all. Like I said, that's not fair. It's not right to y'all. But I just wanted y'all to know, because y'all know that I normally start my show at 10 p.m. Eastern. But I wasn't expecting everything to happen the way it did over the last day and even over the past week. Um, I wasn't expecting to lose another best friend. Anna, she was a fighter like me. And so I can't make sense of it. And I don't know how to make sense of it. Um, I don't know, what went wrong with her because I was told she was getting better. The last, time I got, information, I was able to call the hospital and ask, Teresa, because she would go up there more than I could get up there. So I don't know. I don't know what happened in there, but, so I'm missing a lot of information. And you could say I don't have any closure to it. So how do you process closure when you didn't get to say goodbye? When you don't even know why, what went wrong in there? I don't have that answer. I know it's going to be challenging for me, and then having, two other people pass away already, before Anna, that I really haven't allowed myself to process and grieve. I guess, maybe it just hit me all at once. Um, but all I can do is do the best that I can to be here with y'all. Um, I know Anna would want me to keep doing what I'm doing. Um, but I know at the same time too, um, my spirit guides are right. I've been here with y'all for a whole year, streaming, um, and I haven't taken really any vacation time off to really do anything or just to shut the world out. My intention was to go to the beach sometime. Will I be able to go to the beach this year? It's doubtful, but maybe. Um, but I just wanted y'all to know that, because y'all know I'm reliable when I say I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. But, I also said there's those rare occasions that something comes up, I get sick, and that's what ended up happening. So I wanted to apologize to y'all for not being here at 10 p.m. last night. I told y'all I would be, but I also wanted to keep y'all in the loop too of what's been going on with me. So it's been a rough week and a half. Um, and all I can do is do what I do best. And it really feels weird. I gotta be honest, but it feels weird past what, couple weeks maybe it's been. Even the way I've been doing the general collective readings, it doesn't feel right to me. And it's not that it's the messages aren't right. It's just not me. I'm so used to doing more in-depth readings. And then the whole trouble with YouTube, like uploading a video. And sometimes it might take a few hours, sometimes it like takes 2-3 days. So when I uploaded the video and I checked it last, the one that should have posted yesterday at the latest is only sitting at 59% the file uploading. So I don't understand it. I still don't know if it's because I'm in the sticks and because I have no Wi-Fi, so everything I stream is straight through my cellular data. That's what I have to use in order to be here with y'all. So I don't know if it's bouncing in and out. I have no idea. But um so because it hasn't posted yet, which I greatly apologize. I can't control what YouTube does and where I'm at. Um, I decided I'd go through and do a general collective for y'all on the stream, and then I'm going to figure out exactly how long it needs to be to where it'll post sooner. And it seems like there's a time difference, so it seems like if it's roughly 40 minutes or less, it'll post a lot quicker. It'll upload a lot quicker. But if it goes over that time period, it seems like it takes forever, and I don't understand why. So we'll see how that goes. But I just wanted y'all to know that. So again, I apologize, but I thank y'all for being here with me, hanging in with me. This past year has been quite a crazy year for me. It's been a lot of great, up for me to interact with y'all, to read, and to share some of my stories with y'all that I know has helped y'all too. Good, bad, everything in between. And it was interesting because um, earlier today when I did wake up, and for a brief moment, I did see a bright gold spirit orb in my bedroom, and um, it was bigger than the size of a baseball, but it wasn't the size of like a bowling ball, but it was big enough, and I couldn't miss it, and it twinkled. So it gave me like that feeling like it was, my angels, yeah, but I felt like Anna was there too. So I thought that was something I'd share with y'all. I think, it's always beautiful when you can connect to the spirit world like I can. Um, but there's times that I know I have to shut it off too because it's not good, where I'm not grounded. Or there's other things going on that y'all may not be aware of. Um, but I feel like, um, if there's anyone, you ever feel like you need to connect with that has passed over, it's like I tell y'all, talk to them. They'll hear you, okay? Just because you can't see them or feel them or hear them doesn't mean they don't hear you. They hear everything you say. They see everything you see. And for some people, it sounds wild, as, I've said this many times before. Y'all need to understand the way our loved ones in the spirit world work, it's not the same it works in the physical. It's I try and explain it in the most simplest way. Hold on. When people, I've had people say to me, when I tell y'all, your loved ones on the other side, did they know you while they were physically here? Yes. But did they know you like they know you now on the other side? No, they know you better. Why that is because Now they're able to put themselves in your mind and know exactly what you're thinking and why you think the way you do, and see it from your point of view. So just, just an example, let's just say you did something that just drove your grandma crazy, for an example, and she couldn't make sense why you do it. Like, I don't know. I'll think of something like, I don't know, instead of having your socks in the top drawer, maybe you put in the top drawer or bottom drawer, to where she would be the one that might put it in the top drawer like everyone else would, but for whatever reason, you prefer them on the very bottom drawer. And that would drive your grandma crazy. She couldn't make sense of it you know, now because she's on the other side, as an example, she understands it. She may not understand it, but she can see it through your point of view, through your eyes. So that's how they get to know you better. And to me, they can also help you a lot more because not only do they know what's going on with you, but they know all your thoughts. So they can really, focus in and see it through your eyes. Because it's like I say, your loved ones on the other side are always with you, and it's just now that they're just living precariously through your eyes, and even when you wonder if, you know, do your loved ones have any regrets? Do they feel any pain? Like if they did something to you in this life while they were alive, are they suffering up there for it in regret? All these different, emotions like that. And the truth of it is no, unless it's holding you back from living your life. Okay, to where like you need, forgiveness from them, um, or you felt like they need to apologize for hurting you, and they see that you're not able to fully move on until you get that acknowledgement that they're sorry or you're forgiven. That would be the only reason why they would feel that, is because they see you getting stuck in life. Stagnant energy, you can call it. Not going forward, but not going backwards either. And that's usually at times that they'll come through the most, because they don't want to see you being held back because they hurt you or because you don't have closure, or, whatever the case is. But aside from that, they don't. They're surrounded by love, and they're in a very wonderful, beautiful, peaceful place. And the only reason why I even know even half of what that place feels like is because I've told y'all, I had an incredible angel experience many years ago. Um, and in that presence of that angel, I got to feel pretty much what heaven feels like. And I gotta tell you, it's the most incredible feeling I've ever felt in my life. I've never felt anything even remotely what I felt that day. And it's everything you can even ever imagine heaven would feel like, but even more. It's like there's like not enough words in the dictionary to explain how great it felt in that moment, what I got to feel. So know that your family, your loved ones aren't suffering. They're enjoying, the other side. They're, spending time with loved ones that have passed before them. And they're also keeping an eye on you. They're watching over you, they're protecting you. You know, it's not to say that every single time that something goes awry in your life, um, that you question, like, well, why did you allow that to happen? Like, I've done it myself. I scream at my mom, it's like, Mama, why did you let that happen? But I know she can't prevent everything because there's certain things that have to happen for us to learn, because that's why we're here. We're supposed to evolve. So there's certain lessons that we're all meant to learn. So no, our loved ones, they may see certain things happen, but sometimes they can't prevent certain things because they still need you to expand, to grow. Because they know once you reach the other side with them, you'll come to understand. And the other thing I also want y'all to know, going back to when we talk about if you ever have, where you feel like a loved one who passed over, if they hurt you in this life, and there's still that wound there, and you wonder, do they feel what you feel? Okay, can they fully understand and appreciate how deeply they hurt you? And the answer is yes. Because one of the other things that does happen over there is what people normally call life review. Okay, so they'll go through frame from frame what that person's life was, and they'll get to see it through your eyes, through your emotions. That moment, it's like they relive it. So they come to understand because they're supposed to grow from it. Because it's almost like um, the ascended masters, God, Jesus, whatever name you want to call them by, it's like they'll ask, well, why did you choose to do this? You could have made this decision instead. So it's like they examine it from multiple angles, trying to make sense. Well, if you had made this choice, you wouldn't have hurt so and so. But if you had done this instead, it would have turned out this way. So it's a learning process up there for them too. So understand me. They know, even if they had to wait till they crossed over and in order to feel any kind of pain, hurt, whatever it is, they know, they feel it, they understand it. They have much greater understanding, but they also understand that they too were here to learn, just like we are, and we're here to make mistakes. That's part of the life. We're gonna grow from those mistakes we make, and hopefully we learn better from our mistakes. So that's just something I want y'all to know. But thank you everyone for being here. So it's been a process, beautiful people. Like I said, I didn't want to put it all on y'all when I found out, because if I did, I would have broken down on stream, and I don't know if I would have been able to stop crying. And I could not do that to y'all. So that was the other reason why I had taken the past couple of Mondays off to give me that extra day to really, sit with it a little bit more and, you know, do a couple other things I need to do. But yeah, so just so y'all know, that's what's been going on with me. Thank you, Bomb. Hey, Eternal. Yeah, them greedy SOBs, I swear. I can't stand it. Hey, y'all. I'm in Georgia. Thank you, y'all. Just bear with me. If I break down here and there, y'all know why. I'm going to do my best not to do that. But if it happens, just understand. Well, I'm happy you're feeling better, Bob. That makes me feel better, baby, that you feel better. Hopefully your heart's, holding its beat, baby, and not overbeating or underbeating either. So, beautiful people, like I said, because the General Collective didn't post, I'll do this real quick for y'all. I did pull like the category cards out first. And some of it seems to be targeted towards one specific area. And because I'm also known for my in-depth collective readings, I'm going to go ahead and do a 5-card spread pull for y'all. So, let me see. Spirit, show me. So, beautiful people, I'm going to pull the cards out first, and then I'll go over them after I pull all the cards out. Just know this is a general collective. It's not a personal reading, so take what messages resonate and leave behind the rest. And if something don't fit, don't force it to fit. Leave behind for someone else. And if you're interested in a personal reading, There is a pinned comment in the chat. And I also have this board back here that has my prices on it, if you're interested. Alright, so show me spirit. What are the messages you want to share with the collective today? What's most important you need to hear? I'll come out hard. Uh-oh. Best possible outcome. Alright. Let me see. Which deck spirit? Alright. Clarify. Actually, do I have that other deck over here? Probably not. That's not in spirit. Hold on. Put that on the deck spirit. That's love. It's like I put all these decks over here on these doors, thinking it'd be much easier to find them, especially when I'm looking for a specific deck. Let's see it. There, at the bottom. Alright. Let's see something. He said no to that. Fine. I had one idea in mind, but my spirit guys just told me no. Alright, fine. Gotta do it their way. Show me spirit. Why is this here? Oh, please don't tell me, Spirit. Come on. Why is this here? Mm-hmm. Show me. Show me, Spirit. Alright, why is this here? One card, Spirit. Give me one. Okay. Show me this. Why is this here? Can't hold these cards right. It's like pretty much this turned into a love reading. I was hoping Spirit would give me something else, but y'all know I can't control what the main overall message is when I do the general collective. Where you going, man? Nothing cards down. So, something about love with y'all for someone, but this would have to be more than one person for Spirit to bring it out, which would make sense because some of the other oracle cards I had already pulled seemed like it was heading in that direction. So, don't shoot the messenger, y'all. So, I'll go over the categories after I just go over the tarot. Well, no, let me do the oracle cards for the categories first, and maybe it'll make more sense to y'all. Oh crap, Amanda. What goes there? Yeah, alright. So, I asked Spirit before I started streaming, when I pulled these cards, what the overall energy is. And I got the card, not talking, like y'all are blocked. Y'all are blocked from talking to someone. And this, could have been like a friendship, family member, work colleague, romantic, okay? So I was going to let Spirit, tell me decide, who does this pertain to, like for most of y'all, who maybe on the outs with someone you're not talking to, maybe you've been, you know, arguing with them, which it feels like y'all have been arguing with someone. Um, but there seems like there's to be a lot of mixed emotions, which I'm kind of seeing that in the tarot right now too. And it feels very complicated. You feel restricted. There's all these mixed emotions with it. You know, you're not sure. It's almost like I get the energy of someone who was like, say, you started talking to someone, a romantic connection or a friendship, and y'all are still in the beginning stages, getting to know each other, but then y'all had a little spat about something, and now both y'all are angry, both y'all are upset, and y'all don't know how to move forward because this relationship is still brand new. You're still learning each other. So, but it feels like for someone out there, it feels like it's heavier than that. It feels a little toxic. Like you started seeing something in someone that you didn't like, but you were trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. So by giving them the benefit of the doubt, you decided to keep trying to, move past, y'all's little disagreements, not seeing eye to eye, not having, being on the same page, just to get to know this person a little more. Um, and now this last spat that y'all have had has kind of cut everything off to where you've been blocked or you've blocked them. And on one hand, you feel, better, with these mixed emotions, like you made the right decision, like because you didn't feel like you were getting, the loving, nurturing, caring person that you were hoping to get from this person, like you would get it from all your other friends, family, and so forth, and seeing all their, toxic ways. But on the other hand, you're also missing this person because you still saw things in them that maybe they didn't see in themselves or that you can appreciate. And you're missing, like, I feel like you're just even missing just talking to this person. So you're like in this avenue in this whirlwind of mixed emotions. It's on one hand, you're thankful y'all aren't talking, but on the other hand, it's like, man, I miss talking to so and so. It's like, they would know what to say right now, or they would make me laugh if we were talking. Yeah, we may not agree on a lot of things that we should agree on or, can't get past, but I still miss them. So that's what I'm picking up from this. And then, I go into y'all's, personal spiritual growth. And guess what? The love comes out in that one too. So I get oneness. And this is why I'm saying it's like on one hand, you want to connect to this person. But on the other hand, you're happy you're not talking. Because this is showing me it's like you're ready, to pursue this with someone, this relationship, whether this is romantic, friendship. I'm picking up more romantic than friendship, but it could apply to a friendship too. You're ready just, to push past what other disagreements, arguments, fights, to really invest into building this relationship with this person. But on the other hand, you're afraid. These fears, these fears of not being able to get past the arguments, the fights, the disagreements. You're like battling yourself now with these fears that are, coming to the surface. Almost the fear of like, okay, well, if I'm, ever in that time frame where, something's really going wrong in my life and I really need to talk to them, are they really going to be there for me? Am I going to be, left, to where you're not going to answer my call? Or my messages are just going to go unread, and then what do I do? So there's this fear of abandonment or this fear of neglect is what's coming out in here. So spirit's asking you to work on these wounds because I feel like for some of y'all, and it's interesting because I think I mentioned this even yesterday, it feels like for some of y'all, you're being triggered. There's some wounds there that still need healing, that you still gotta kind of like work through before you really try and open yourself up to invest in a new relationship, especially when we're talking about romance. But this can even apply to friendships, because it's not fair to take out your wounds from the past, of people from your past, and make the people in your present who are new in your life, who haven't done anything wrong, pay for them. So Spirit's asking you, challenging you to work through these fears so you can come into oneness with this person and try and work through your differences. Because I feel like a lot of this over here is being spilled over, okay? The fears is being caused by these, not talking to each other, the mixed emotion, and it's coming from those childhood traumas, those childhood fears, or something that someone has done in your past that maybe you had a romantic interest in, or an old friend, like a best friend betrayed you, something like that. So spirit's challenging you to let it go. That's your personal and spiritual growth. You're not going to be able to ascend or go to a higher dimension. You're going to remain stuck here until you work on all those issues and those triggers and that pain in order to get back up here to raise your vibration. So that's what Spirit's encouraging y'all to do. The next one is relationships and love. Again, like I said, this is kind of spilled over. And I get, like, over here again, we're talking about, this oneness here, wanting to pursue this with someone, and over here I get possibilities. So you see the possibilities and the potential with this person, what that can be like if you can just work through your differences, okay? But Spirit's also saying, okay, doesn't mean that, it's going to be rainbows and butterflies all the time. There's going to be challenges. Things are going to go south at times, but it doesn't mean they have to remain down there in the bottom, okay? And so Spirit's wanting to remind you there's going to be changes. There's going to be challenges. Those challenges is something we all face. And it's up to you to be willing to face them, be mature, mentally and emotionally mature, to know this, to not allow it to, affect your overall relationship to where you just decide, no, I don't ever want to talk to you again. No, I don't ever want to see you again. Especially if it's over something small, okay? And I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do or how to feel. I'm only telling you what Spirit is saying. Be more mature to know that there's going to be, those challenges, those disagreements where you're not going to see eye to eye. But that's where you're supposed to learn from each other too and grow. So be willing to work through those challenges so you can have the possibility of this right here. If that's what you want, whether it's friends or romantic, this is what Spirit's encouraging you to do. Work through those fears. Remember that there will be challenges ahead. We all face them. In every type of relationship we have, we all go through them. And then for y'all's career and money, Spirit saying, be willing to invest. For some of y'all, there's like, y'all either have a 401k, or invest in the stock market in some type of way. Spirit showing me that this would be a time to really look at what's going on in, your investments. This could be in other areas too. Um, but they're saying overall that things are looking good, and you can start even building and set more of a stronger foundation by looking at other investments. I just heard diversify. So maybe there's something out there for someone. You got to look at diversifying your what do they call it, like your 401k, your IRA, those type of investments, or this could even be in a business. And Spirit saying that there will be people out here that you can collaborate with, because I get the be a sport here. And the message I'm getting from this is collaboration, working with someone to get your investments when it comes to your money. But even this can tie to you investing in yourself to go through and maybe take some kind of classes to up your skills so you can set the groundwork to make more money than what you're currently making. So there's also that in with it. Because I feel like some of y'all are still kind of like trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing with your life. You're looking for like, why am I here? What's my life purpose? So I feel like Spirit's wanting you to open the door. Do some research. Don't be afraid. What is it that you enjoy in this life? What do you like doing? Okay, can you possibly turn that into something that you can make a livelihood off of? Why not? You know, and yeah, right now that might mean, okay, like I said yesterday, you might have to still stick to your 9 to 5 job right now. But on the side, give it some time and look into it. Can you make, some extra money? And then once you reach a certain point and grow it and establish it, it might grow from there. So spirits ask you, reach out to other people, work with other people, collaborate. Um, but trust yourself and use your discernment. Talk to a financial advisor. Even spirit so is showing me like a school. So for someone out there, this involves school. Like you need to go to school to get some kind of credits, get certified in something. That's what they're encouraging you to do, to make that investment. And now for the tarot that I pulled out with this, like I said, it seems like a lot of this is around love. Um, but you can, take it how it resonates for you. I have here in y'all's recent past energy, this is the Five of Wands, which is really telling me, like, this, okay? You're not talking to someone because you're at odds. You're fighting with them, okay? There's arguments, there's disagreements. And Spirit's asking you to be a little more loving and forgiving to this person. The love you give to someone is the love you keep. And they want you to not regret giving to this relationship because of you fighting with them. It's not worth it. It's not worth, keep, fighting over the same thing. So they want you to take a risk. But I pulled this to clarify this card. I was going to use my tarot as I would normally do, but they told me to use this. So this is all about giving, loving. As much as you want to be loved, you got to give yourself to, and to not be afraid. Not, again, to allow your fears to overtake you, to keep you from having a great friendship, a great romance that can, become long-term, or marriage if you're single looking for marriage. So don't be afraid to give your whole heart to them. And yeah, there might be differences you got to work through, but that's always going to be happen. There's always going to be something you're going to come across with any kind of relationship you have where you're not going to always see eye to eye, and you're not supposed to. So don't be afraid. That's what like a lot of your recent past energy is, but for some of y'all, it's spilling into the present right now. Then in y'all's present energy, here's the Magician. Y'all are trying to manifest. I feel this love, this relationship, trying to figure out if y'all two can come back together and work on this relationship and find the goodness in each other instead of focusing on the red flags or focusing on the little things that, might have, ticked you off that, maybe if it was anybody else who wouldn't bother them, but for some reason it bothers you. Spirit's asking you to focus on what it is you want from this person. You manifested them. Spirit brought them into your life. Now what do? Are you just going to simply like block them and walk away and not talk to them again? Does that solve anything? No. I know you're trying to manifest, their kindness and coming back to the table. So Spirit's saying, this is time for you to show kindness and forgiveness because I have the kindness card here. So whoever you're manifesting or have manifested here, this is what Spirit's saying. You manifested this person. You manifested this relationship with this person. It's time to be kind and forgiving. And yeah, and sometimes it means having to forgive ourselves too. So that's your present energy. And then in the center of this, I get the Four of Wands. So I do feel like many of you are gonna come back to the table, reach out to this person, talk to them. Spirit's encouraging you to talk to them, to not just, ignore them. And I feel like it's going to be a happy reunion because I get the Four of Wands here. And as you can see, there's two people sitting together side by side like a couple, enjoying the sunset. So this is a celebration, happiness, joy, a reunion. And this can even be not just like a couple, but you can think of your friends that way, or even your family, if you're at odds with them. And Spirit's trying to come in and assist you, okay? They're trying to help you, work through your emotions, work through the arguments, that you keep replaying over and over in your head is what they just said. They said, stop that. Have some forgiveness, kindness, because they're here to assist you, to bring you back in union with this person. So Spirit's saying, ask them for help. But also remember that, you got to also make sure you're receiving something too. But ask them for help and also be willing to, help this person. Maybe this person, and this is the way Spirit just said, maybe this person who you're at odds with, maybe they're not able to see it from your point of view because maybe they've never experienced it before. When we talk about this Five of Wands, all these arguments, these spats, these fights, disagreements. So maybe there's a different way you have to come to them to get them to see it from your point of view. Does that mean you're right? No. But it just means can they help to see it from your understanding? It's like an example I'll give y'all is like me. I often have told y'all, I can still, you know, stand on what I believe and what I agree with, but can I also listen to you and see it from your point of view? Yeah, I can. So what does that mean? It means like we're both right, okay? We both are equally right, but just as much as we're right, we're also wrong. So it could be a mixed bag of 50-50, right and wrong at the same time. At one angle, yes, you're right because of this, but at this angle, no, I still disagree because of this. And that's okay. It's okay to almost be at a stalemate, is what I would call it. But at least you have more of an open mind and you're willing to see it through their eyes just as much as your own. Because it's like I always tell y'all, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And for me, I'd rather be happy. I don't have to be right all the time. Okay? I just want to be happy. And it's like if I gotta, say to my loved ones, like, you know what, I still disagree with you, but you got it, can we just work on this? I miss you, I miss us talking, I miss us hanging out and so on. I'm the bigger person there. I can do that, and I will be the one that will tell you. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. I'll admit to that. And I feel like that's what Spirit's encouraging you all to do too with someone, that you feel like this whole time that you've been right. Maybe, and maybe you're still right. But are you missing this person? Are you missing their presence in your life? So are you gonna just stay stubborn over here and be right and be miserable, missing this person? Or are you going to be over here? It's like, yeah, I still feel like I'm right, but I miss you. I love you. You got it. I just want to be happy. Can we come back together? Be over here. That's what Spirit's encouraging you to do for your, growth and learning love, learning yourself, learning relationships, because it goes into all aspects, different relationships. It's not just romantic love, it's friends and family. That you're going to have those moments. Because here you are in the advice of what I'm getting from Spirit. Like you're right here in this Knight of Swords. Like here you are still trying to put up your sword and be right. Okay. And you're using all, the constant circle you're going in your mind, overthinking this, what's happened. And it's like, but logically, I feel like I'm right. So I'm still putting up my sword. The Spirit's saying, put that sword down. Put the sword down. You don't need to fight to be right. Be happy. Why? Because they're showing me you're still trying to manifest them. You want to manifest them back in your life, back on talking terms. So, be able to put this sword down and say, yeah, okay, not that you surrender, but hey, I raise my white flag, I'll put my sword down. Can we just hug and make up? So, I feel many of y'all are really, really missing this person. Because I feel like if you don't, and this is what Spirit showed me, if you don't put your sword down and come to the table and try and work this out with them, this is what you end up having. They're going to walk away for forever from you. And they're not going to open that door. And Spirit's saying, don't allow that to happen. But you have a shot of this happening. If you don't come off that pedestal of having to be right. Okay? Do you want to be happy? Do you want this person in your life or not? If you don't want them in your life, okay. Then this Eight of Cups right here, watching them walk away from you forever, isn't going to affect you. But I feel like for most of y'all, You will still miss this person. The Spirit's even showing me that. You just want to embrace them again. Okay? You need them. You need their, their company, their thoughts, their advice, the fun y'all have, the laughs. So don't lose a moment to be able to come back to this person. And that's what Spirit's showing me. Um it's in y'all's corner, y'all. Spirit showing me there will be an opportunity to talk to this person. Doesn't mean that you're gonna have to reach out to them first. Yeah, you will. And I know some of y'all are like, no, Amanda, you know, I still feel like they should apologize to me. They should be calling me. Again, beautiful people, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Okay, and yeah, you got to bend a little bit, yield a little bit in order to be happy. But I'm telling you, if that means my happiness means I have to pick up that phone and call them first or drive over to their house, then that's what I got to do because they're worth it to me. Their love, their time, having them in my life is worth more than my pride. I can swallow my pride. So Spirit's saying, swallow your pride. Give it a chance again. There's a great opportunity here for this to grow. If you can do this, given this opportunity, it will come into balance for you again. And there will be harmony. You'll feel like you can, be at ease with them again. But be willing to hear each other out too. Don't go around throwing stones. That's the other thing Spirit just said. Don't throw stones at them. Because if you do that, they'll go on defense. And then you're going to end up in the same thing all over again. At each other and then going y'all separate ways. Spirit saying don't do that. And then I pulled for the other oracle card I have here. Zenith at the peak from my Gods of the Hidden Realms. And this is what the card says. In autumn, the harvest reminds us of the nature of abundance and the promise of prosperity. It's a peak moment of success. Be assured that in your own life, you are moving toward this very zenith of achievement, creativity, and love. You have worked so hard. Can you see how far you've come? As you move forward, you can reach even higher, building upon the foundations of your accomplishments. This natural cycle carries within it a reminder to be humble. Nothing remains at the peak forever. The seasons must change as part of a natural law. Accept the fruits of all your hard work, inside and out. Be here now with humility and gratitude, and share your good fortune with others. This is a wonderful time for intimate exchanges and profound connections. So celebrate this peak moment, then keep moving. Move adventures in abundance will follow. Or I'm sorry, more adventures in abundance will follow. So make space for them. And this reminds me so much of like Spirit talking about these investments. There's going to be the peaks, there's going to be the ups and downs. That's natural, in investments. It's not always going to be go up, up, up. It's going to be kind of like this, right? So that's expected. But this to me is really talking about y'all's relationships as a whole. You're at a peak moment, okay? Maybe that peak moment is y'all are at odds. But can you change the seasons in your heart and embrace this person and say, I still love you. I still care about you. I still want you in my life. I know we're not going to always see eye to eye, but I'm here. I'm willing to stick this out and fight as long as you're willing to fight for this relationship too. And so there's going to be those peaks. So welcome that. If you can, be the bigger person and understand that when, things go bad, they don't have to go completely south. Okay? You can stop it. You're in control. It's just how much of your pride you allow to take over. Don't allow your pride to eat you alive. It's like, I remember my daddy used to tell me, he used to say, pride can kill a man. Don't allow your pride to take over. Allow your emotions, your heart to lead in this time instead of your logic, instead of your mind. Lean in with your heart. And there'll be great abundance. I feel like this relationship will grow. It will blossom. And I feel like you will learn a lot more with this person or group of people about yourself, but also about the world. So there will be those peaks and bounds. And with it, it's like when you're doing good in life and things are, bountiful, share that with them too. Don't be stingy. Be willing to share. Share, not just parts of you, share all of you. And they, in turn, will do the same. They will give as much as you give them if you give it a chance, an opportunity to grow. All right, beautiful people. And then the angel card I pulled for y'all is the Earth Guardian. And it says learning in the happening. It says you may be telling yourself that everything happens for a reason, but this might not be helping you heal from the pain a particular situation has caused you. It's important to know that there isn't a divine plan to teach you a lesson. It's more that life experiences unfold based on your decisions in order for you to learn from every moment. Today, you are being encouraged to find the reason behind what's happening now. And the reason is you. And the positive affirmation you can say to yourself is, I am open to expanding my knowledge and learning. I am open to expanding my knowledge and learning. And that's what I have for y'all for the general collective reading. Again, beautiful people, that was a general collective. It wasn't a personal reading. So take what messages resonate and leave behind the rest. If something doesn't fit, don't force it to fit. And if nothing resonates today, if you're here, you're meant to hear these messages. It just may not be meant for you to, look at it today, but it might not. It might be true for you down the road. If you should ever feel called to listen to this reading again, it will be here. All right. Hi, beautiful people that came in. Hi, DM. How you doing, baby? Hello, Stephanie. Hi, Jedi. How you doing, sweetheart? I hadn't seen you in a while. How you been, honey? It's good to see you. Hi, Matthew. And hi, everyone else who came in. Welcome, beautiful people. Hi, Will Helm something. That's a long name, sweetheart, but hi. You're welcome, baby. Everything does happen for a reason, but I think we still have control over some of the things that happens in our life. But when things don't work out the way we had anticipated or wanted them to, there's a reason. There's something we were meant to learn. It kind of makes me think of, and I was thinking about this earlier. It's like many of y'all know, I lost my mom when I was 19, and what ultimately killed her is because her lungs failed. And if she had gotten a lung transplant, she would have lived a lot longer. Okay, so that's one parent. And, that was devastating enough for me and, my family. But then years later, my stepdad, who's also a daddy to me, who I call daddy, he's been in my life since I was like 4 years old. He ends up going into renal failure. Same thing. He needs a kidney transplant in order to live longer. And, me and my brother and the rest of the family are like, why? Wasn't losing one parent to organ failure enough? Like, what was it that me and my siblings and the rest of my family didn't learn from that loss? Why are you putting us through this again? You know, and me and my brother, especially, we couldn't make heads or tails of it. It's like, I don't understand, Spirit, why, you know? And it makes you more angry. But what did I learn from it? Beautiful people, I don't have a good answer for you. I really don't. Um, Other than to realize how precious time is. You know, we're all on a clock. We all do have an expiration date, whether we want to um, remember that or not. I get it's a morbid way of thinking, but it's also the truth. So, and then I also had lost my biological father even before I lost my dad, my daddy, but it wasn't to organ failure, not needing a transplant at least. He ended up having a stroke. So, um, I still don't know what I was supposed to learn from it. I keep asking Spirit why, you know, because I thought I was getting ready to go through it a third time with someone. Thankfully, it hasn't happened yet. But do I believe it will happen? Unfortunately, yes. Because that person's in renal failure too. So what's going to happen? They're going to eventually need an organ in order to live at some point. So that's like 3 times for me now. Like, really, Spirit? What did I not learn? So I'm still searching for those answers, beautiful people. But I do think everything happens for a reason. So I hope this time around I'll be able to, digest it all and really just think it through. Why? Or why did I have to lose 2 friends? You know, my 2 best friends in the same year, just months apart. I don't know why. Um, but that's just part of life. And we're here to learn and love. Oh, that's awesome, DM. Well, baby, hopefully they're willing to take your case. I feel like it's something that's worth really seriously looking into, the way things turn out. But you know how I told you just the other day, like maybe it needed to happen in order for something else to happen behind it. And you know what I'm talking about. So I feel like that's still what it is for you, baby. All right, beautiful people. So what's going on with y'all? Enough about me. What's going on with y'all today, tonight, this morning? Anything exciting? Getting in any trouble? Having any fun? Y'all got any plans for the weekend? Knowing it's like Friday morning now, right? Yeah, it's Friday morning. I haven't made any plans other than I'll be here with y'all tonight. I should get a few other things done, but we'll have to see how everything plays out for me. What y'all got planned? What y'all got going on? Anything? Of course, I'm gonna mess up my decks, putting them back in the wrong pile. So Amanda, pay attention. Sunday lunch with your cousin? That sounds lovely, baby. Where y'all going to eat? Y'all going to that cafe that I saw in your foggy drive? And that was foggy, baby. But do you know I've seen fog worse than that? Like driving through the mountains. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about some thick fog? When I was in the mountains, y'all know I lived up in the mountains for a year. So this was about a year ago. All the way down the mountain, I had to be somewhere. I thought I was gonna get in a wreck. or I thought I was going to end up in the ditch. And you know how the mountains go, it's only like one way this way and one way the other way. And it's either I'm either going to run into the mountain or I'm going to go off the road and end up down, you know, in a ditch. Talk about scary. I could not see out my window. I couldn't see in front of me. And I got perfect vision and I could not see in front of me. I just had to go based off the memory of driving down that road and just hope and pray to God I make it through and not crash. And thankfully I did, because you have to drive slow going through that mountain. I mean, you can't drive fast because it's like the curves. Oh my God. So, but there were times though that I felt like when I would drive through there, I felt like I was on a roller coaster too. It was weird, but but I did see that video, Bob. Thank you for sharing it. And that'll be a beautiful thing, DM. I believe that you'll be blessed, baby. I do feel that. Oh, wow. Well, baby, that's a good thing then, that you're doing that. Yeah, you'd want to let someone know if something were to happen to you, baby. But let's not think about that like something's going to happen to you anytime soon. You ain't going to be here no more. You got to live as long as possible, baby. It just, hey, Bob, you know, I want you to live forever, baby. I want everybody to live forever. But just in case something happens, make sure you come and visit me. Make sure you come and visit me. Your ghost comes to see me, baby. In fact, you know what you can do? You can play with Teddy to scare everybody. You know how everybody thinks, you know, Teddy's alive. Oh, and he's not even on camera. There. Teddy peeking out in the corner. You can come and move Teddy for me, baby. So everybody finally thinks he's alive. And I'm going to enjoy it too. And then I'll know it's you, baby. And make sure you ring my bell. That's the other thing. Ring my bell and mess with Teddy while I'm streaming. And I'm serious too, Bob. But make sure you come visit me. I want to know. We'd have some fun too with it. You know, I would get a huge kick out of it. Of course, I'd probably be here like watching, you know, the screen like I am right now. Not even seeing Teddy in the corner, and all of y'all be over there like, oh my God, I think Teddy just moved. And then I miss it. Oh. Oh. Well, thank you, DM. That's sweet of you, baby. I look forward to receiving it. I can't wait. Let me put these decks up real quick, y'all. Get them out of my way. Dang, I feel like I've lost my voice. They'll go back into the little pockets. Okay. Last one I gotta put up. I'm about to rearrange all those again. I meant to like put them in specific categories, but I didn't. I know, I saw your EKG too. That's wild, baby. Hey, Sean. I'm glad you're still here, though. You gotta be too stubborn, baby, to not, let your heart stop and you not come back. You hear me? Hey, that's the best way to look at it, baby. The day you died and you returned. Remember I told y'all how I like my body knows when I get hot. It happened this morning. It's like my body knows if it's hot, if it's hotter than 70 degrees, I start sweating on my nose. And this was this morning when I jumped on this or yesterday morning. Yesterday morning. I went through and I was sitting here and I was just talking and I'm like, oh my God, it's hot in here. I'm like, and I know it's hotter than 70 degrees in this house because that's the only time my nose starts sweating, which I hate. And sure enough, go look at thermostat, 73 degrees. It's like, yep, there it is. I hate that. Oh, that's so funny, Bob. You want to, this is a dirty joke. Let me see if I can remember it because you mentioned it. And I remember one of these days I'd remember it again. I think it's like a poker joke. So if y'all play poker, y'all understand this. I think the joke goes something like, did you hear Dolly Parton died lately? And naturally everybody will say no. And it says, so, yeah, Dolly Parton went up to Heaven's Gate to enter heaven. And St. Peter was standing there. And she asked St. Peter, can I come in? Can I enter? And St. Peter said, well, what do you have? And Dolly Parton says, well, how do you like these pair? And she pulls down her shirt, because she has big boobs. And St. Peter said, well, those pair are just fine. And then Princess Di comes in behind her and says, wait a minute, what about me, And St. Peter asks, well, what do you have to offer? So Princess Di uses a Massimo douche and douches herself out. And she's like, well, what about, a royal flush? And so St. Peter's turned around, looked at Dolly Parton and said, well, sorry, Dolly Parton, a royal flush beats a pear any day. I was like, oh my God. Somebody told me that years ago. I think I'm missing a part of it, but that's pretty much the sum of it. So it's always interesting. I get told a dirty joke by somebody, and that's an old one. I think it was like, man, yeah, I was told that like over 20 years ago. Actually, it was longer than that. So, hi, Diane. Alyssa, you said the bear winked at you. What, that bear? If you saw my bear wink at you, I believe you. You know, I told y'all he likes to say hi every now and then. Let y'all know he's back there. Wow. I'm sure, Bob. I mean, I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of someone having to have their heart stop just because of it beating that high. So that's wild to me, baby. You're the first person I've ever heard of that happening to. But yeah, because when you first told me, I'm like, huh? Are you serious? Are you messing with me? Yeah, I've been trying to be there for you, DM. I meant to message you earlier today, in fact, and I got sidetracked. Hopefully it'll work out with the lawyer. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. They'll take it, and something can happen with it. Hello, Johnny Beasley. How you doing? Oral 4. That's true. And I believe it will go well, baby. No, I don't know if I have. Wait a minute. Where's that deck? I'm missing one of my decks. Where'd it go? Me and Spirit are gonna have to have a talk. I think Spirit has some more messages for you, DM. But I don't see the one deck I'd want to pull from for you. I must have left it in the other room. In my bedroom. Hold on, y'all. Let me go see if I can find this deck. Because I thought I had it in here, but I don't see it. And I know I took a couple decks in my shuffle and do some other things with when I was off. So, let me go find it. I'll be right back. weird how my house has different temperatures in every room. Okay. I think the one deck I'm looking for, DM, I think it fell between my bed. I have one of those Tempur-Pedic beds that's split up. It's two mattresses that are separated. They're twin beds that come in to make one California king-size bed. And I think the deck fell in that crack. So it's like, I saw some of the cards between, but then some of them are underneath my bed. So I'm gonna have to reach under there later and pull them out. I couldn't get all of them right now. And I couldn't find my broom to reach under there to get them. True. What's your point? You know, that's just condescending. Nobody asked you to be here. You know what? Oh, do we have this conversation? Okay, you're spreading love, but you know what? I have a problem with you coming in here. Nobody asked you to spread your religion, we'll say. Okay. In full disclosure, I'm a Christian woman, okay? But I'm also very open to other people's religions just as much as I'm a spiritual person. And there are some things in this world that I can't get you to understand, okay? Because if you're so stuck to that Bible, then you're not going to understand someone like me. But it's not just me. I have many people here right now who practice a different religion. And I believe freedom of religion. I'm an American. And that's one of the things we hold true. So by you coming here doing that without being asked, you are stepping on other people's religions. I have a problem with that. I don't like that. It's condescending, okay? Because I know everybody knows who Jesus is, all right? And everybody knows, you know, what Christianity preaches, that yes, Jesus loves everybody. You don't have to come in here and tell them that, or me. So, don't do that again. Oh, wait. My mod kicked you out, too, so there you go. There are many people who are here right now who are Christian, who have Christian beliefs, and they don't do that either, because like me, they're respectful of other people's beliefs. So just know that, too. They're not in here doing that, so you're not, you know, entitled to come here and do that either. That's so funny, Bob. You're so funny, baby. Well, I guess Ice will appreciate him not being here anymore. You know how that goes. So, I just love the people that just love to randomly just drop in, whether you call them trolls or whatever. Like, they think they have a right to step on other people's religious beliefs and force their religion on others. And that's the one thing I do not like. Don't do that. It's not right. If you ask me a question, okay, maybe I'll answer it. But don't go doing all that other stuff. Yeah, you are being your sarcastic self, and I love it. I had to find something to munch on real quick. Oh yeah, and I got my lab results back today. Yeah, they told me my iron is very low, and they want to give me an iron infusion. I said, okay, how much is it going to cost? $503 and change. And I have insurance. It's like, yeah, you can take that iron infusion and shove it up your behind. Okay. I guess that just means I'm going to have to figure out how to get some more steak in my body. I'll fix it that way. Thank you very much. Hey, Bob, I told you you're too stubborn. You can't go anywhere. You gotta stick around and give the rest of the trolls and all that a hard time. Still gotta get that troll picture put on something. I do laugh at it. Sometimes when I need a laugh, Bob, I do look at that troll picture you designed. Yeah, baby, that's true. But unfortunately, I can't eat that with the other person here because of his renal failure. He can't eat spinach because of the, was it the calcium? I think it's the calcium. What was it? Because him and I had it out over a year ago about it. I think it's the calcium, but it's something else. Hello, Raheem. Because I know when you're in renal failure, you have to watch the sodium, the calcium, and freaking I mean, besides the sugar. Um, I think I'm missing something. I can't think of it. All I know is that like some of those um um vegetables you listed off, like spinach and mushrooms, he'll eat those, but he's not supposed to because like I think the calcium goes through if he gets too much calcium in his body, it will cause his bones to start to frail. It'll do the exact opposite. Um, the what was the other one I listed? The sodium. He has to watch the sodium intake because if he gets too much sodium in his body, it can actually cause his heart to have an irregular heartbeat, which can cause him to have a heart attack. But it would be a silent heart attack to where there would be like no warning signs. He would have a heart attack and then he's gone. Because I had it out with him before I had my rotator cuff repair surgery. And he was eating all this kind of junk that he's not supposed to be eating. And one of them was peanuts. And The peanuts he got were salted. Okay, well, he's supposed to watch his sodium. He's only allowed so much sodium per day. And because he wouldn't go research it himself, you know, I kind of already knew that there's certain things he had to watch. So I have to research everything, then tell him. And so I saw he had ordered 2 or 3 of those canisters of Planters sodium peanuts, roasted peanuts. And the container was full the night before. The next morning when I wake up, it's over half gone. I know that was more than, you know, his limit he's supposed to have in a day. And the messed up part about it is I had already gotten a warning that he could have a heart attack. And my spirit guides told me I wouldn't be able to save him this time. And I often wondered why. What would cause me to not be able to, you know, save him? You know, is it going to happen because he's on the road driving or he's not with me? You know, like why? And then I come to realize what it could have possibly ended up happening. Because I was getting ready to go in and have rotator cuff repair surgery. My arm is stuck in a sling for 6 weeks, which I ended up being in a sling for 8 weeks. So if his heart had stopped or he had a heart attack, I wouldn't be able to perform CPR because my arm's stuck in a sling, you know. And I don't know anybody else around that can perform CPR. And we're out in the mountains where, like, the paramedics is way away from where we were at to get to him in time, which means he would die. And so I got so mad at him and fed up, and I told him, I said, I cannot believe you. You're in renal failure. You know you're not supposed to have these things. You know you're only limited to this amount per day. But go ahead. You want to kill yourself? Go ahead. You know, I'm not going to be able to save you this time. And I said, and I was warned it would happen. I said, so if you really care about being here still, I suggest you put those peanuts in the garbage can right now. Otherwise, I know you're going to sit here and eat them. And you're not going to be able to tell yourself no, because that's part of your problem. That's been your problem for years. When you know your kidneys are failing, when you know that you've had too much sugar, you keep eating whatever it is you want to eat. And the heck with what the doctors say, or you don't want to listen and believe them. Well, here you are. So, you know, you either choose to live or you choose to die. But I can't fight this for you anymore. And it's not fair to me, knowing I need my shoulder fixed, that I'm almost afraid to go through with the surgery right now, knowing that you would be the one that end up eating those peanuts and anything else that you know you shouldn't be eating that raise your sodium, raise your sugar, raise your calcium, and then you're gone. So you decide now. But I've had enough, and it's not fair to me to put me in that position that possibly, if I go ahead with my rotator cuff surgery, I might end up tearing my shoulder trying to save you again. That's not right. Oh, I was so mad. So mad. So, you know, he said that nobody told him about that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have eaten it. Because it's like, whatever. Just know that I know what you should have. But you keep wanting to go playing around, going against what the doctors keep telling you, go ahead. You don't have much kidney function left, so go ahead and destroy the rest of it. Why do I care? It's like you've shown me you just don't care anymore. Okay? I'm not going to fight this anymore, So, even though I won't, you know, get on to him when I see him eat stuff that I know he shouldn't have, I still don't go through and try and add to it myself too by eating stuff that I know absolutely he's not supposed to have, like spinach, and that sucks. Because I know it'd be something I need, because I love spinach, but I can't eat it with him around. So, the only safe bet for me is to get a steak. Crystal, there's a pinned comment in the chat, honey. I also have this board back here. Well, Bob, that's one good thing, though, baby. That at least your kidneys are still functioning. His aren't. But, like I said, I don't care anymore. I can't fight for someone who refuses to fight for themselves. It's a waste of my energy and my strength. Yeah. Yeah, I need the high protein. I definitely need the protein. And that's when my doctors told me make sure I get plenty of red meat. Because that has the most protein with the iron to give me what I need to keep me, you know, functioning. Well, I guess I'm going to have to go get me a steak at some point in the next few days. Because I got to run an errand anyway, so as long as he's not with me, I can eat it alone in peace. That's what I'm hoping for, anyways. But I don't know of any restaurants out there. I don't know of any of them that have spinach. Not without going to my fine dining restaurant in Atlanta. I'm trying to think. Where can I go to get a steak and some spinach? There's got to be a restaurant out there somewhere. I'm going to have to look. Don't give myself gout. Well, I didn't even know I could give you gout, DM, but I don't eat it every day though, baby, so I guess I'm safe. I haven't had a steak in, wow, it's been a few months. I've had cheeseburgers, yeah, but not a steak. And meatloaf. I guess Crystal didn't want to pay for a reading, Bob. Hey, DM, that sounds like heaven, baby. I would love a filet. My body needs it. Here, let me just check, make sure I didn't send something, but it always gets me how people don't pay attention to the chat. All this junk. Oh crap, I need more lipstick too. It's like, why do they have to make lipstick so doggone expensive? It's the only makeup I wear, but it's so freaking ridiculously expensive. Nope, I don't see anything, so... Okay. Seriously, Bob. It's always insulting when people do that. They expect that. $4.30. Oh my goodness. That's wild, Bob. I know, and it's winter for you, baby. That's crazy. Ouch. And you know, DM, you mentioned lentils. And I don't know of any place that serves lentils either. I used to know um, an Indian restaurant, but unfortunately they closed it. They changed it to a different type of restaurant, but I couldn't even tell you what it was. I don't know what they changed it to. Well, you stay safe, Bob. I'm gonna be worried about you, baby. I've never cooked lentils. I'd be completely lost. I've only eaten lentils, I think, twice in my life. And when I ate it, it was in a soup. It was different. It was good, but it was different. Um, it was like some kind of tomato-based soup. And they put lentils and I think there was parsley in it. I think that's what it was. Something like that. Yeah. Well, baby. That's why I have the Red Bull. But this also helps it too. DM, I could just see your face right now. You shaking your head at me, baby. I'm terrible. I know. Oh, yeah, and I did try that, Bob. No, no shot, baby. Nope. Uh-uh. Couldn't handle the taste, baby. I'm sorry. Of course, you know I know, DM. I know you were shaking your head at me. But it works. It gets me energized when I need that extra little pickup. Thank you, Raheem. In fact, I should probably drink one right now. Mm, of course, I only got one left in my drawer. I gotta get the other ones from my kitchen. Damn's like, there's just no help for you. No, 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 don't do that. Leave my care package alone. Send me whatever you plan on sending me. Baby, you send me whatever you want to send me. I'll love it either way, I'm sure. No, but I need to drink this for a different reason, actually. Hey, but you know what? I've been doing good because I don't drink these every day like I used to. I've been leaving them alone. Maybe that's the other reason why my iron's all messed up, too. I mean, yeah, I did see my B vitamins. What did it say? I believe one of them was low. I believe. Don't hold me to it, though. I believe that's what it said. I have to pull it up again. Oh, I know Diane would. But, baby, I did try it. Now, Bob, I will say this much, baby. I only put it on cheese. And I don't know. It needs something. And I remember Moonchild told me to get, like, add some type of, like, jelly to it. To kind of, like, even the balance of the taste, the saltiness. So, one of these days when I feel brave again to try it again, I'll try that and see if I like it more that way. But that was Moonchild's suggestion to me. Peanut butter? Okay. I do love peanut butter too. I don't know if I have any peanut butter in my house, so. Because that might have been one of those things that I threw out because I know he shouldn't have it. It was the first thing I looked for. Sweet and savory, is that what it is? I mean, I could see that. The sweet balancing out the saltiness in it. It just still had a weird taste to it. Salty as crap, yeah. And I'm not a salt person. But no, well, I can't say that because I love soy sauce. I'm very picky about the salt. I'm very picky about what it goes in. We'll just say that. I prefer pepper. Like I drenched all my food in pepper unless it's like something sweet, like a dessert. So, or like sitting here eating chips and cheese, you know. This is pepper jack cheese, so it has that, but I know, DM. I know, baby. Poor me. But I did try it, baby. But I will try it again. I just got to figure out what else to try it with so I can eat it. Um, I would have to look in that fridge, figure out something else. You said peanut butter. So I'm like put it on like peanut butter with like bread or something. But I'm not a bread person. So, and I can't eat bananas either because that's the other thing. That's what I was missing, the potassium. That's the other thing he has to watch with renal failure. It's his potassium. And I think it's the potassium and the sodium. They both can like cause his heart to go into an irregular heartbeat to where he can have like a silent heart attack. It was the potassium. So he can't have like bananas at all. I can't have bananas in my house because of that. Um, Crackers. That'd be the only thing I can think of. I know, baby, but I'm just not a bread person. I don't I don't I don't eat bread. Just like once in a great while I will, but I can't even think of the last time that I actually had a sandwich, like lunch meat, because I don't eat bread. It's not one of the things that I keep in my diet. But it's the same thing with rice. I don't eat rice, even though I'm half Asian. I don't eat a lot of rice. I only eat rice when I eat like Asian food, or, if I have Mexican, then there's the rice for that, but that's about it. So I'd have to put it on like a cracker. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know grain is better, but he won't eat it. So it's like it's mixed grains or something. And DM, I've heard the same thing, baby. So I guess it's probably a good thing that I don't have bread and rice in my daily diet. It's the other reason why I don't eat pasta either, for the same reason, because pasta breaks down in your body into sugar just like bread and rice. It does the same exact thing. So I've always practiced that though. Ever since I was young, I was never big on, pasta. It's like, yeah, you can keep that. It's not that I don't like it. It's not top of bliss for me. Bread, you can keep that too. Um, out of, I will eat rice, but I even just watched how much of it I ate. I just, it's just one of those things. So yeah, you are correct. I've heard the same thing, baby. You know what I love, DM? And baby, you would know. If anybody in here would know what I'm talking about, it'd be you, I would think. I used to love those rice cakes, those rice crackers you can get at the Asian market. Um, I haven't had those in a long time. And then I don't know if it's a Japanese thing or if it's Asian, but they call them biscuits. But they're little circles. Um, they're like crackers, but they say biscuits, I think, on the package. And it's like honey. And you talk about in heaven. Oh, I love those. I grew up eating those. Um, but I don't know what the name of them is. Um, my family used to get them for me all the time. They're white, but like on both sides, it's like a little brown. Um, gosh, I don't know what the name of them are though. I want to say they're called honey balls or something like that. So, but they're like tiny. They're about the size of a dime, if probably smaller than that. But they're like little packets. And they're see-through. You can see through and see the little circles in there. And I do love the little dry seaweed snacks, you know, that come in like they're individually packed, and you just break them off, and they might have what, maybe 6 or 8 sheets of dry seaweed in each one. I eat those. I haven't had those in a long time either. But other than that, um, my grandparents used to they used to get something, and I don't know what it's called. I believe it's dried seaweed. Well, I believe it's seaweed, but it's like it's made into like some type of paste, and it has like different flavors, and they always put it on rice. I don't know what the name of those are, but I remember I used to eat that a lot when I was a kid. But the rice crackers, yeah, I used to eat those. Eat the crap out of them. Now, Bob, I would love that, baby. I would go for that. Just catch me some scallops and we're good. So, and I mean, it's not like it's not that I don't eat pasta. Like I said, I don't eat a lot of it. I don't care to eat it. And I think that's what's helped me to not end up diabetic. Not that anyone in my family, on my Asian side, I'm not aware of anyone on my Asian side that's diabetic. It's only on my white side. Yeah, DM, it's like a relish paste, and it comes in a container, like, let's see, oh crap. Think of something that's almost shaped like this, but a little bit bigger, and there's different flavors. Um, and it's a glass jar, and it has a metal lid. Hello, Crystal. If you would like a reading, it's $40 US to get a reading from me, sweetheart. No, baby, the board's up there. I'm just giving her the, you know, if she wants an in-depth reading, then that's what the cost is. But yeah, there's this board back here too. Um, DM, I don't remember seaweed ever, or not seaweed. I don't remember, freak, what'd you call it? I don't remember sesame seeds being in it. But it looks like seaweed. But it's like, maybe it's been cooked and it's been flavored and in some kind of like sauce slash paste. And there's different flavors they put it in. And I'm trying to remember the color of the jars that my grandparents got. Man, I can't remember. I can see them, but I can't at the same time. I want to say one of them had purple writing on it. And I think another one might have had blue writing on it. But of course, it's all in, you know, Japanese or whatever language that I can't read. But I always enjoyed eating it with rice. And that was just from watching my grandparents eat it. I would try anything they made for me. I wasn't that kid that's like, me, I don't want that. Whatever my grandparents put in front of my face and I just saw a gold spirit orb. Whatever they put in front of my face, I ate. And I loved everything they gave me. Everything. I never said no. I didn't like anything. Yeah, it's the wet version, baby. That's the only ones that I ever tried. I don't know anything about the dry version, but the wet one is what I would eat with the rice. But I do recall it might have been once or twice. I believe I did see them give me some rice that had like sprinkles of dry seaweed on it. And I don't know if that's what you're talking about, baby. But I think I do recall seeing that once or twice. But like I said, I never asked my grandparents about it. I never complained. Whatever they fed me is what I ate. And you know those pickles, yellow pickles, um, they're like bright yellow. Do I have anything? I don't see anything that has that bright yellow color on it. But there is like there's a Japanese pickle. At least that's what my grandparents called them. They were Japanese pickles and they were yellow. They were bright yellow. I used to love eating those too. Don't ask me why. I like the flavor of them, and they were addicting. Very addicting. Yeah, I don't ever remember eating the red ones. I didn't even know they made red ones. I only ate the yellow ones. That's the only one that I ever saw my family have sitting around. And you put them in some of the sushis. And that would have surprised me because, you know, one of my favorite sushis is the cucumber roll. But you mentioned the red. And I do recall eating a sushi and I saw something red in it. And it seemed like it had the same texture of what a yellow pickle was. Now that I think of it. Like I said, baby, I mostly eat anything, especially if it came from my grandparents. Hey, you didn't have to beg me to eat it. I ate it. What are you talking about, Bob? What are you watching, baby? And I love that white sauce. Here I am talking about all this food. Doggone it. What was it called? See, this is what I miss about being around my Asian families. I didn't get enough influence long enough to have it memorized in my mind. What's that white sauce they use for seaweed, or not seaweed, seafood, at like a hibachi restaurant? I've heard them refer to it as white sauce or seafood sauce. All I know is it's good, and I could drown my food in that too. A Chinese dating show. Well, of course the women are pretty, Bob. You know, Asian women are known to be some of the most beautiful women in the world, is what people would say, generally speaking. The guys are hopeless. Why you say that, Bob? Why are they hopeless, baby? Are you hopeless, Bob? Okay. I'll have to write that down. Of course, I probably shouldn't know exactly what it is, because then there we go, like, all my other levels would go skyrocketed high, I'm sure. You know, baby, that's interesting you said that. Because I wondered if that's what it was, because I love the volcano roll. At least that's what they call it here. And it's supposed to be the California roll with crab meat laid out on top, but you can tell it's in some kind of sauce. But it almost looked like it had some kind of cheese in it too, because it looked like it melted. Because they would go through, they would lay it on top of the roll once they cut it up and bake it in the oven. And it's like it melted. And it made it like creamy, almost cheesy like, but not cheesy. That's one of my favorite rolls. One of my favorite sushi rolls I love to eat. Okay, DM. Well, make me some, baby, and send it to me. I'm kidding. I'm curious, can you still get Inati at Vaughn's and Ralph's? Do you know what I'm talking about? The Inati sushi. Years ago, I could go into, it was either Vaughn's or Ralph's. And I could buy the Inati sushi there. And no, it wasn't my family's or my grandparents, but it was the next best thing I would get. And I think it was either Ralph's or Vaughn's. They actually had a sushi stand where someone was there making sushi. So do you know what sushi I'm talking about? It's called Inari or Inari. It's spelled I-N-A-R-I. Okay, you know what I'm talking. Okay, it was Vaughn's. Yeah, because I remember one of the last times I was home, my family didn't have a chance to make me my sushi, so I had to go searching for it. And it just so happened that I noticed Vaughn's had a little sushi stand. And thankfully, lucky for me, they made Inati, so I was able to get me some then. That's one of my favorite sushis. So, it's like here, I can get it, but it's just not the same. It's, even if I heat it up, it's not the same. And then it's like, they don't even give you the whole tofu shell, which really ticks me off. So instead of giving you one inati piece, they cut it in like half, or they'll cut it in 3. But it's my favorite sushi of all sushis. That's what my family calls football sushi. Because, you know, as you know, it looks like a football when, you know. Yeah. And here they don't have as big of an Asian market like they do out there on the West Coast in California. Yeah, it was sweet. It was like sweet tofu. But I don't know where my grandparents would get it from. Because I know we would also go shop at Fedco. I think that's what it was called. Was it Fedco? Is that right? And that's where I think they would get a lot of the Asian foods from there. Without having to go to like J-Town. Alright, Bob. Well, baby, thank you for being here and hanging out with me for a while. You have a good night, baby. Sweet dreams. See you later. See you later, alligator. No, anytime, baby. I'll see you tonight. I need a bit of my hair. Well, it's a quiet night / quiet morning. I do enjoy some of these peaceful nights where it's quiet. But there's always the downside to it being quiet too. It's 5:11. Dang, I've already been here over 3 hours almost. Doesn't feel like it. Excuse me. And Bob, you stay safe out there too, baby. Almost forgot about the wind you had mentioned. Um, yeah, baby, I'll probably have to call you. So I know I got another career money deck. But it's like I'm missing, like, there's one I should be using. But I think it's like a multi-deck that's supposed to be for both, like, money, career, and love. And that's probably why I haven't thought of using it. So I'll have to tap into Spirit and see what Spirit says, DM. Because I feel like there's something else they want to say to you, baby. And I don't know if you saw it, but I had ordered this deck months ago. And I just got it in. And I thought the cards would be brighter than what they are, but they're not. I mean, I still can read using them. I just wish the background color was brighter. It has a blue background. It's really pretty. Hello, Ricky Bobby. I'm Gravy. Thank you for asking. How you doing? I'm not sure who you are, Ricky Bobby. Since since YouTube's showing y'all's handle and not the name y'all would be in here before with. I'm not sure who you are, baby. You'd have to tell me what your other chat name was. It's like a shadow deck, DM. Um, but it's, even though it's technically a shadow deck, it was designed for that. It's one I could see I could use for either or, because I can see where the light and the dark comes into a lot of these cards. But they're really pretty. Some of them are. Like I said, I kind of, could see some of the images and relate to it, but it was the background color that made it more relatable to me. So, I just haven't shuffled it yet and cleansed it, but I will by the weekend. Oh no, that's not good, baby. What's wrong with your eyes? Like, are they just getting blurry? If you're having issues with your eyes, baby, you need to get them checked. Eternal, are you still here, baby? You went quiet on me, Eternal. Oh, okay. Well, I get both your parents wore glasses, baby, but I don't think that's always the reasons why, like we're automatically gonna get, not as good eyesight. I mean, both my parents, they never wore glasses. I never saw my mama wear glasses. My father, I'm sure he did when he got into his 60s, but I never saw him with them on. There's only one person in my family that has bad vision, that has been wearing glasses for as long as I can remember. Other than that, I know both my parents, they pretty much have perfect vision. So I've never had an issue with my eyes like that, but I get why people automatically think that though, because we look at to our parents for, what did we inherit from our parents. But even no matter whether your parents wore glasses or not, baby, if you're having trouble seeing, you need to get your eyes checked. That's important. I guess, go to Walmart, and because I know some Walmarts have a vision center. I just don't know what it costs to get your eyes checked there. I don't think it's expensive though. I used to take my stepdaughter to Walmart years ago to get her eyes checked because she has to have glasses, aka contacts. Okay. Well, where'd it go? I know I set it down over here. Oh, there it is. I figure out what I need to do with these moving boxes piled up in my corner. Oh, wow. Did you try closing one eye to see if you can read out of it? I'm curious to know if maybe it's just one of your eyes that's being affected. Excuse me. That's not a good sign. This deck out. Okay. Well, maybe it's only one eye, baby. Either way, make sure you get your eyes checked. Hi, Andrea. How you doing, beautiful? Happy Friday. Just took your shower. What time is it right now for you, Andrea? I'm sure you feel better after having a shower. I know I do. It just takes me a long time to take a shower. In fact, I took an hour and a half shower today. It's rare that I take that long of a shower, but it took me an hour and a half today to wash my hair and shave and all that good stuff. Okay, so you're on the same time zone as me. Would you just wake up, sweetheart? I always worry about taking a shower sometimes, though, because I always worry it's going to put me right back to sleep, because I take extra hot showers, too. You know, Andrew, I was watching something the other day. I don't know why Spirit's making me bring it up, but I just think it's interesting, because I don't think you probably were here the other day when I had mentioned it. Last week I watched a video of a woman who had long hair, not as long as mine, but her hair was probably like, we'll just say like halfway down her back, like to her bra strap, we'll say. And then and it shows she was in her car, and there was a baby in the back seat, in a car seat. And then the next thing I saw is her saying she wants to record her husband's reaction, because she had just gotten home from the hairdresser getting her hair chopped off. And when I say it was chopped, like it was like a boy's haircut, short chopped. And it was a drastic change, and it was just a shock to see it. And then she also had dyed her hair like a reddish auburn-like color, and it's like, you know, I don't know what her reason for it was, but, you know, people were in there saying, you know, especially the guys, they were saying, oh, well, that's grounds for a divorce, this and that. It's like, you seriously would divorce your wife simply because she went and got her hair cut like that? I mean, hair grows back, like, what is that, you know? And, you know, they have many different excuses, but it's like, I didn't understand why she felt the need to record her husband's reaction. However, you know, so I agree with them on that. But, you know, what I took from it is, you know, and you being a woman, I know you would probably be able to relate to this. It's how, you know, I think many people in general don't understand how long it takes many of us to get ready, right? Especially when we have long hair. And then if you are one who has to not just wash your hair, but if you take the time and have to blow dry it, style it, and then if you also put on makeup and then still get dressed, right? So I was saying to these group of guys that was commenting on this video, it's like, do you not understand? She's a mama. She has a baby in the car seat, in her car. It's like, do you not understand how long it takes a woman to get ready? And then I said, and I got the feeling like she's tried talking to her husband about it, that she needed to cut her hair because it was, you know, taking up too much time trying to get herself ready day in and day out when she's chasing after a little one. And of course, it was all of this. And so I say, you know what? None of y'all know me. I know this. But if you're interested in what I look like, I got videos on my channel. You can go look at them. Um, I said, however, I said, I'll use me as an example. I got hair that goes down to my bum. And I know me. It takes me at least an hour to take a shower, wash my hair, and shave. And then it'll take me an additional hour to dry my hair out and find something to wear and, put my lotion, whatever else I'm going to do. So I need 2 hours a day, two, to get ready. Try and give that time to a mama chasing after a little one. Wait a minute. She doesn't have luxury of time like that. And that's the point that y'all are missing in this. Unless her husband's over there going to help her watch the baby, do whatever needs to be done for the baby so she can go and put her butt in that shower, wash her hair, do everything she needs to do to fix her hair, put on her makeup, because that's all she did, wear makeup, and put on clothes. I mean, is a guy going to typically do that? Let's be honest. More than likely not, because they'll say they don't have time. I said, so you can't get mad at her for chopping her hair. There has to be a sacrifice when you have kids. And that's one of the sacrifices. I said, and it's interesting, that this video came about. I said, because over the years, when, out in public, I would have random women left and right, complete strangers that would see me in a store, walking on the road, whatever. And they would come up to me and they would ask me about my hair and, give me a compliment about how beautiful my hair is and all this and that. And then they would also follow up and say, I used to have hair almost as long as yours. Maybe not as long, but I did have hair that was long. And I ended up cutting it. And I'd always ask, okay, why? Why'd you cut it? And they told me it was for one of two reasons. It was either because they were suffering with bad headaches or migraines. So they felt like what would help to relieve their headaches is cutting their hair. They don't have that extra weight they're carrying around. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then the other reason was because they had kids and they didn't have the luxury of time to keep and maintain their hair. Yeah, that makes sense to me too, but trying to explain that to other guys, like, no, I want you to look exactly the same way as the day I married you type attitude mentality. It's like, okay, if you want your wife to maintain her looks, I suggest you get up off your behind and help her then. If she can't go through and take care of herself, and chase after a little one too. Oh, and wait. Let's see, clean the house, cook, and do laundry. Oh, and probably hold down a job too. Got it. Yeah, that's so unrealistic. And it just blows my mind in the society we live in today because, there's always that word of simp, which I hate, but I didn't grow up in that environment where it was strictly on the woman to care for the children, clean house, cook, and all that stuff. My daddy helped my mama. My grandparents, same thing. My grandfather was right there with my grandmother, helping her with the kids and also cooking and helping with the garden and helping with the laundry. So, it just blows my mind. Beautiful is all. But yeah, I feel bad for this girl because she's getting bullied and okay, yeah, she didn't have to post the video, but I could almost feel like there was a reason behind it. Like, she's trying to teach people, like, understand when women have to make sacrifice, especially when you become a mother. Something had a sacrifice. And it's like, and if it takes me an hour to take a shower and shave and wash my hair, it probably takes her an hour too. And, and then I was saying, like, about the makeup. I don't wear makeup except for lipstick, but if I did, and I had to blow dry my hair, yeah, I'm gonna need probably another hour just for that. Then after that, trying to find something to wear, and yeah, it's always wild to me, honey. Oh, I believe it, honey. I get it. I get it completely. You know, it's too tiring to do all that day in and day out. You know, to wash your hair and shave and, if you wear makeup. I get it, beautiful. I really do. That's why I've always been tempted to chop my hair because it just made more sense, to simplify my life. And it's like I was telling people last night, like, what, what's going to happen when I do, you know, age and have gray hair? Okay, that's money I'm going to have to spend to dye my hair. Do I really want to do that? And for the length of hair that I have, my hairdresser told me over 20 years ago, if I dyed my hair at the length it's at, it would be well over $200. And that was 20 years ago. I can't even begin to even fathom what it would cost me today if I had to do something like that. But, so I told my hairdresser back then, I said, listen, if I could spend $200 to dye my hair, that's when I'm going to chop it. Because, no, I can't wrap my head around that. I ain't got money like that to be spending just to do that, but I know others do and they will, but it's just crazy. But I thought that was interesting. Andrea, I don't know why Spirit wanted me to share that with your girlfriend. Because I think all women are beautiful, and I never get why people can't see the beauty in them that I see. I'll never get it, but maybe that's it. I'm not supposed to. But I'm happy to hear you got a hot shower and you feel better now with your hair smelling good too. I know I always feel better when I take one. And I washed my hair today too. It's like, thankfully, I didn't gotta stay in that bathroom trying to blow dry it. I don't have the patience for that. Oh, wow, honey. I'm sorry to hear that. I know I suffer with it too, beautiful. But I don't have an IUD. But I know what you're talking about. Do you feel like it's helped? Like, do you feel like it's changed your life for the better? As long as it's changed your life for the better, that's all that matters. But when you talk about, bleeding, yeah, I do too. And the tenderness, plus with me, it makes my back hurt more when it's that time of the month. My back screams at me, and it's nothing I can do. I know it's just part of my body, the stress, I guess, of um just being a woman during that time, and it affects my back a lot more. Do they do that, Andrea, for like hormonal regulation? Oh, I believe it. I know it. I've experienced it all the time with that, but especially that time of the month. It screams at me, and there's nothing I can do about it. I know I've heard good things about the IUD, and I've heard bad things about it. So I don't know if it's good or not, but maybe it's something I have to look into. depending on what it's used for besides not getting pregnant. Which, yeah, I don't want to get pregnant, but you gotta have sex to do that too. And I've been celibate, so. But I'm happy it's been able to help you, beautiful. That's all that matters. Okay. I didn't know they would do that as an option. And it's to prevent you from going into early menopause, right? That would be a good reason for it. Excuse me. Yeah, because I wouldn't want them removing my uterus either. It's like, the divine gave me those organs for a reason. Even though I may not be having any babies, yeah, you're not taking that. There would have to be something seriously wrong for me to allow them to go in and remove it. But I'm happy to hear it's helping you, beautiful. I've heard those things fall out too, though. Andrea, have you heard that, sweetheart? Because I've had a couple of different people who told me they got an IUD and it fell out, though. Oh man, who was it? I think one of them is my sister-in-law's. There's someone else. I heard it somewhere. Okay. I'm just curious to know what would cause it. Well, I mean, that's kind of a stupid question. Be something not to be careful, like, because I think, like, someone said that their partner felt it one time. I was like, what? What? And they think it fell out at that time. It's like, oh my gosh. I did not need that mental image, but okay, I get it. I remember telling her, we both laughed, but, you know, I think, she was talking to me because she was afraid she was going to get pregnant again. And she didn't want to have any more kids, but she didn't want to go through the whole hysterectomy either. So that was the other alternative without having to be put on the pill. So, but she's the only one I know, personally, who said they got the IUD, but it fell out. There's someone else, though, I read it about. Just can't remember who it is. But anyways. Well, I'm happy to hear yours has stayed. And it's helping you. Because those monthlies, oh my goodness. Those are miserable. Ouch. But yeah, I noticed, even laying down, especially, during the monthly time, my back is always screaming at me like it's on fire. And I can't even sleep on my back then. There's been moments. Well, hi, beautiful spirit. What the heck was that? I don't know what the heck I just saw. Well, like two gold bars. Almost made me think of like a little door. know. Oh, well, that's great to hear, Andrea. I'm happy to hear that there's still doctors out there that we can all be comfortable with. So you gotta do that because that goes very personal. And I know some women are uncomfortable going to that type of doctor, but, I encourage everybody to go get all their, follow up annual checks and such. I don't even think, yeah, I don't even know if my doctor's still practicing. I haven't seen him in a few years. Well, beautiful people. It's been really quiet tonight. It's been nice. But also, it's not good when I'm not making anything. Um, I'm gonna shut it down for the time being, beautiful people. I've been with y'all for a few hours and it's been pretty quiet, so I'm gonna shut it down for now. I'll probably be back later, maybe. If not, I'll be back 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. So I hope y'all will come see me then. And for those of y'all who've been here with me, thank you. I enjoy hanging out, chatting with y'all. Thank you for all y'all's love and support, all the likes and subscribing to my channel. And everyone who has, been here for me from the start, thank you. Okay, DM, we'll get some sleep, baby. So, happy Friday, beautiful people. Maybe I'll be back sometime later before 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. I don't know, we'll see. If not, 10 p.m. tonight, I hope to see y'all then. Good night, y'all.